I'm not saying I like those learning moments,
Oh,
but
they're hard.
they're they are, and they're embarrassing sometimes, and some of them you just really want to. And it's not government. It could be anything, right? You could tell your spouse, you could make a statement that something is absolutely positively the way it is, and then it's not, and you're gonna, it's like, oh man, I gotta go and say I was wrong. I tell people, like, when they ask me questions, it's like, I don't think I should answer that because I could be wrong. And send me an email. And I love it when I get emails that are really specific because then I can go out and send it to the different department heads or whoever gives me those answers, so I can make sure I get someone the right answer. I don't do really. I'm always concerned about going off the cuff when it's something I think I know, but I don't want to say it if I'm just likely to find out that I could have been really wrong. I'd rather just say in the beginning, I don't know that answer. I can find out. How's that?
That's a good spot to be in.
I just learned it's safer than thinking I know the answer and saying something and then having to go back and say, I was wrong. I don't mind saying I was wrong. I prefer trying to not be wrong, but
Was that a hard learned lesson?
I think so. I think I think it's hard for a lot of people from the standpoint. And how do I say it? I don't want to make it about being a woman in office, but I think there. I found in a letter Bonnie Neely was the supervisor prior to me, and when I found all these papers in her office, going through things, she did this great talk on being an elected woman in the '90s, and it hasn't really changed a lot with just dealing the interactions often between women seen differently than men are seen, and it was hard coming in, and well, it's hard to ask for help. It's hard to say, I really don't know what's happening here. Can you tell me? And it's hard to say, I don't know. It's hard to say I was wrong, because you want to go in and you don't want to ask for help. You want to just soldier through on your own. And then I think what happens is it wears on people over time. And, I'd had some people say, there's nothing wrong with not knowing everything. And there's nothing wrong with, accepting help. And so it was hard to get used to saying, I didn't know that, but I think now it's just like, it's part of life. You don't know everything. You don't do everything right. And sometimes I think I'm perfectly right on something, and maybe I'll find out later I'm not. And do I like to then say, I was wrong? It's like, no, it's not exactly my favorite, but I say it often because I find out that life is full of moments where if you don't have moments where you recognize you could have done some things better, or you did something a little that wasn't actually in the how you thought it was going to turn out, there's nothing wrong with saying, yeah, I kind of messed up on that one. So, it is hard. It's uncomfortable though. And I think it's something that you kind of have to surrender to, which sounds kind of dumb probably, but it's like, done with trying to be perfect. It doesn't happen. So
I think that's an important thing that a lot of people don't realize is that admitting that's actually a strength.
oh yeah, I mean, because when you don't admit it, then I mean you're denying yourself the opportunity to, one, learn. Because if you don't, yeah, I'm not saying I like those learning moments,
Oh,
but
they're hard.
they are, and they're embarrassing sometimes, and some of them you just really want to. And it's not government. It could be anything, right? You could tell your spouse, you could make a statement that something is absolutely positively the way it is, and then it's not, and you're gonna, it's like, oh man, I gotta go and say I was wrong.
It could be something simple. I remember this is what always comes to mind whenever I get on a subject like that. I had a buddy of mine, and we were maybe freshmen in high school, and we were talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I was convinced that he was short. I was convinced he was like 5'4"
I
and was
stood next
jacked.
to him.
Yeah, yeah.
He wears lifters in his
I don't
shoe.
know where I got that idea from, and I was arguing with my buddy. I was like, no, no, he's not tall. He's super short. And then I think somebody Googled it, and I was like, oh shit, yeah,
He's-
he's actually pretty tall. I think he's like 6'6" something maybe, but he
yeah.
was way taller than 5'4", and I was like, oh yeah.
Well,
Whoops.
it's yeah,
But you need those moments, and I think
yeah,
those show your character in a very authentic way. And I would imagine that being in a public space like you are, those moments are harder, but
yeah.
they're also more important, because if you can be honest in that moment and say, hey, we messed up, or hey, this didn't exactly go how I thought it was going to go, I think the public can trust you more, because then you're a reliable source. You're not just covering up your mistakes and just going to,
We're not perfect.
yeah. And nobody is, and everybody recognizes that, but nobody wants to own up to it when they make the mistake, when they are
Yeah.
imperfect.
I think our board is pretty good. I mean, do we all think we're right often? Yes, of course. And we can't all be right. But, I think I've heard everyone, Rex, Supervisor Bone, everyone knows him as Rex. I mean, it's like when you live in this little community, you know, he'll say when he might say a lot of other stuff, on the way, but he would say if he found out he was wrong. I Supervisor Bushnell, I think she would do the same, and I think both supervisors Wilson and Madrone could do it. I mean, I can't think of examples necessarily, but I'd like to think that we all, to some extent, um, have the ability to step back and go, yeah, you might have been right on that one, but I could be wrong. I like to give the benefit of the doubt. It's interesting being chair in the Zoom age has been not exactly like it was beforehand. It's been trying to get a cast of characters, especially when we were not in the same rooms. When they say herding cats, it had nothing, not it didn't no comparison. It was even crazier, but I think now that we're in the room together, things seem to be gelling a little bit more. It's still getting used to it, but I do think that everybody that we've got has that ability to step back and say, yeah. Now, did they do it publicly? I don't know.
I think that public aspect is important.
Yeah.
I think it really is.